Yes, people, welcome back to another video on Never a Foul. The transfers keep rolling in, and these two from Manchester City, I'm sorry, but am I already looking at them as potential title favourites? And I know that Liverpool won the league, and I know that Liverpool are going to get Frimpong, Kirkes, and Florian Wirtz. But when I look at Manchester City having an off-season last year, and the rebuilding they're doing right now ahead of the 25-26 campaign, can we already call them favourites to regain the Premier League crown? Guys, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you do all of that if you haven't done so already. This is Never a Foul. Great for content. All top 6 teams, videos, and lives as well. But today, it's been confirmed that Manchester City are going to get Rayan Ait-Nouri from Wolves. Proven left back, consistent, technical, ready for a step up. And as I said about Rayan Cherki, these North African guys know how to ball. And if you've watched Ait-Nouri over the last 2-3 seasons, you know that a move to a top club has been coming. This has been a given, whether it was abroad, whether it was another Premier League club. It looks like Manchester City is the perfect destination for him right now. And we're going to touch on him first because obviously Tijjani Reijnders has joined the club, a player that I love, a player that I wanted at my fellow club, especially when Erik ten Hag was in charge and was bringing in all those Dutch guys from the Eredivisie. Reijnders was the one he should have got when he was at AZ, before he went to Milan, but he didn't. And now I've got to sit and watch him every week at the rivals across the road. The boys in blue, Nino, sirens ringing, all of that. 999, it's an emergency. Manchester City are making proper signings. Top signings that come into the starting 11. Top signings that add to the depth and the quality when you're going for the Champions League and the Premier League again. And the first one is Rayan Ait-Nouri. Been in the Premier League a few years now. 23 years of age. That's the first thing. The age profile that Manchester City are going for in terms of their signings and this rebuild is perfect. You look at Victor Reis, the centre-back, young, under the age of 21. Kuzhinov, a younger player, under the age of 22. You're then looking at Ait-Nouri, 23. Reijnders, perfect age of 26 for a midfielder where they need that a bit more experience and a bit more of that been there, know how, wore the t-shirt, ready to shine in the Premier League. I'm really liking this Manchester City rebuild. When you throw Cherki in there, which that deal will probably be completed next week, I'm a little bit jealous. Of course, as a football fan in general, Manchester United are making good signings. Cunha, Mbeumo, I'm taking that all day. Of course I am. I can't be big, I can't be choosy. Still into something in a time when Manchester United like this. Don't think there's many better left backs out there that could go to Manchester City. And I'll tell you why. When you look at Manchester City and the way they want to play football, it's all about, control of the ball, technical brilliance, making your opposition suffer at times, being patient in the build-up. Ait-Nouri possesses a lot of them qualities that Pep Guardiola would like in a defender. He's a defender that, he's a left back. He can play in a back 5 out wide as a wing back. He can also play in a 4-4-2, but also very comfortable at coming into the middle of the park and taking the ball in midfield. He can dribble inside. And I don't just think Pep is signing him just to say, you're going to be a left back. I think he's going to be fundamental in the build-up for Manchester City next season and what they're looking to do, what they're looking to obtain in terms of making the team suffer, but also being penetrative in the final third. And that is something Ait-Nouri can do. We've seen already with him, only last season, played 37 games for Wolves in the Premier League. No injuries, consistently fit. 4 goals, 7 assists. That's 11 goal contribution from left back in a team that, no disrespect to Wolves, aren't the most attacking, don't have the most possession, don't get into the final third and create a lot of chances. And when they did, who was one of the main guys creating them? Who was their outlet? Cunha or Ait-Nouri? And now you're going to put Ait-Nouri into a team that has a full functioning defense in terms of Gvardiol, Diaz. You got a midfield of Rodri being back fully fit, Nico Gonzalez growing. Throw Reijnders in there, energy, legs, athleticism, Gundogan with the experience. Omar Mamouche can play in there. And then you've got wingers such as Doku, Savinho, Phil Foden, out wider in the pockets. And who better to put the ball in the back of the net? Erling Haaland. Ait-Nouri is going to be such a big improvement for Manchester City because we've seen with him last year. Look, when you've had Nico, I think it's Nico Riley in there. Obviously, his first season playing in the men's game and starting a few games, are coming on in the cup competitions, and he's been decent. I respect him. I think he's got a good future ahead of him. Versatile, come through the youth. City will back him, and I think he'll be there as a squad player. But when you're talking about going for the Premier League and going for the Champions League, you just need a bit more of that extra class. You need a natural in that position as well. And if Nico O'Reilly's been performing in that position and he's not a natural, only imagine what Rayan Ait-Nouri can do with the signings that are coming in for Manchester City. Erling Haaland back fit, Rodri back fit. And I look at this as well, and, you know, talking on it on a football basis, Benjamin Mendy was at Manchester City a good few years ago, right, when he signed from Monaco. But if anyone remembers his first season or first year and a half, when he was playing at left back, he was an animal. Up and down that flank, whipping in them near post crosses, whipping in them low driven crosses. For who? It was Sergio Kun Aguero back then. And they were feasting. They were wicked deliveries. Mendy was up and down like a left winger, basically, effectively, not even playing left back. But it just goes to show that when you have a world-class wing back or fullback, whatever you want to call them, that can put a great delivery in the box, you need someone that can get on the end of them. And now I finally feel like, you know, they've had the Fabian Delphs, they've had Gvardiol play there, they've had Cancelo play there, who's a right-footed left back. But now I feel like it's been over 5-6 years that Manchester City have now gone out and signed a proper left back, one that can whip the ball in, one that can carry the ball down on the left-hand side, one that is comfortable in possession, in and out, off the ball, on the ball. You know, he can defend 1v1. He's not the most amazing defender, but he can defend 1v1. 100%. I've seen him play very well against Mohamed Salah, who is probably the best right winger in the league. But he's played very well against Mo Salah. And if you do that, that shows you can do it against most right wingers in the league. So Ait-Nouri solid defensively, allows Gvardiol to now play in his comfortable position in centre-back. Because that's where Gvardiol wants to play. He's been at left back and he's been fine, been very good. But now he can play at centre back with Diaz, and Diaz and Gvardiol can form that proper partnership with Victor Reis, Kuzinov, and players behind, and Akanji, you know, rotating or playing in weaker games or games they should win. That allows Gvardiol and Diaz to now enhance their partnership. That's one big tick. Now you've got a left back in Ait-Nouri who's natural, like I said, out wide, left-footed, comfortable on the ball. He can whip in crosses for who? Erling Haaland. Haaland's going to feast. He's going to be really looking forward to to Ait-Nouri getting down on the byline and cutting that ball back. I think Pep's going to work wonders with Ait-Nouri. I just think the technical brilliance of him, he's been ready for a step up. And I feel like there's more to come from Ait-Nouri. I look at him and I've always said he's ready for a move, but how good can he be? And I feel like that's the exciting part for Manchester City and their fans, is that you're signing a 23-year-old left back who is on that way. And it's how good can he become? Because we haven't seen him play at the Champions League. We haven't seen him play at a team that's expected to win most games and competing for titles and trophies. Now he's going to be doing that. And then you combine the price. 40 million it's rumored to be. For today, for a starting left back who's got many years ahead of him, that's a great buy. And I always see that with Manchester City. They never really overspend. Unless they really, really want someone, they'll go big. But normally it's great purchases at great prices and for great players that normally fit the profile of what they're looking for. Some signings don't work out, I hear it. But I feel like now with Ait-Nouri, it's a signing that needed to be made. They were looking at Cambiasso at right back last summer, but they've gone out and now got a left back. And I think it's the perfect signing. I think this is a signing that can really improve this football club going into next season, because he's a starter. He's guaranteed to play. He keeps fit. He's Premier League proven. What's there not to like in a team that's going to be possession-based and technical? well, you need technical players, to play in this side. I think it's a brilliant move. Rare Ait-Nouri from Wolves to Manchester City. I'm jealous a bit. I know we've got Dorgu, but I'm a Man United fan, but I've got to keep it respectful. There's certain signings that I just look at and I think, perfect. And it's similar as well. If there's any Liverpool fans watching this, I think Kirkes is the perfect signing for Liverpool. And I'll do a video on that as well. Different profiles. Ait-Nouri more technical, bit more complete inverted. Kirkes, high energy, intensity. A Robertson 2.0. That's what I mean. You buy players that suit what your team does and what your team needs. And that's where I bring Reijnders into it as well. Because Manchester City have needed a midfielder with athleticism and energy and ball carrying qualities for a long time now, because Kevin De Bruyne has not been able to do that for a couple of years. What a player, what a Premier League legend. But Gundogan hasn't got the ball carrying ability. Rodri, not so, a controlling midfielder. You look at Reijnders, and that's the perfect gap. Bernardo Silva's legs are gone. They need athleticism. They need energy. They need someone that can pick up the ball and drive with it. And also chip in and add goals from midfield. And that's what Tijjani Reijnders can do. This guy is a proper top level footballer. I've loved him since he was at AZ, and I've really liked him since he's been at AC Milan. And I think what's going to really help Reijnders and really help him take to the Premier League is that with Manchester City normally liking to play a 4-3-3 or drop a wing fullback in, as I was saying, into midfield, and it gives them a bit more control. That's going to allow Reijnders to get forward, break lines, be that energetic, combative midfielder in what Manchester City need. I feel like they missed it last year. I feel like they were quite easy to play through at times. I thought teams could hit them on the half turn and hit them in transition. And I just feel like they needed someone with a bit more legs and stability in there that can give them just a bit more grit, balanced out with the composure of Gundogan or a Rodri in midfield or a Nico Gonzalez. It's perfect profile picking from Pep Guardiola and whoever Hugo Viana, I believe it is now, who's the sporting director. These are signings for the future, but they're also the signings for now. And I feel like if Reijnders was playing at a team that plays a pivot, for example, I don't believe you'll see the best of his qualities. It could be quite limited. I don't think he's the best at sort of controlling games, and he's the best passer. But what I feel like is he's the best. He's really good at breaking the lines, ball carrying, arriving at the end of at the edge of the box, getting on the end of things, and he's really added goals into his game in the last couple of seasons for AC Milan. And I think it'll be a big loss for them. But of course, them not being in Europe, them having to make money, another brilliant deal. Less than 60 million for Tijjani Reijnders. I thought he would go for 60 million or more. They got him for literally nearly 50 million. What a signing. Ait-Nouri and Reijnders for 90 million. Two starters, two players that are not really going to cause a fuss of attitude, two players that can rotate if needed, but they add quality. Manchester City are building something that is going to be there, ready to compete next season. And if you're a Manchester City fan, trust me, be excited by this, because you are getting two proper players. I really love the business they're doing. And who's to say it's going to stop there? Who is to say it's going to stop there? They've done some signings in January and they've done some signings now. It's going to be looking at 253 million, 300 million. But that's how you do a rebuild. You just go out there and you get the players. Instead of staggering it over 4 windows, that could take a bit of time. You just get them in now, get them adjusting to Pep's philosophy. And one big thing I love about Manchester City, and I'm going to end it on this, and it seems like a big props for Manchester City video because it is. They never panic by the end of the window. I've always learned this with Man City and Pep, right? They buy early in the window so they can come in ready for pre-season, if not like now, the Club World Cup. Because everyone knows with Pep, it takes a little bit of time to adjust sometimes. It can take a season to adjust sometimes. But the quicker you're in and learning the philosophy, learning the trades and learning the basic principles of what he wants of you at Man City, the quicker you can get accomplished. You can become comfortable. You can then become yourself. And City will never panic buy in August. They get their signings done early, so they're ready. They're fully fit come the first game of the season. And all I'm going to say is Arsenal, Liverpool, the other 2 teams that should be going for the Premier League title, be aware. Because Manchester City are back. Guys, like this video, subscribe, do all of that. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you on the other side. Ait-Nouri Reijnders. Here they come.